Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Fuel for Success. This is Mike and Matt on a Thursday morning. I'm glad everybody's here with us. Today is Thursday, and today is your fuel for business and development success. And we're going to talk about, we've got some questions that have come in and a few other things. I've got my on the air sign lit, so just so y'all can see that. And my wife and my son got that for me. So I kind of like it. I might sit this way so you can see it until I rearrange my studio here. But good to see everybody here, and good to see you, my friend. How are you today?
Blessed, man. What about you? You're like a new kid at Christmas time with your sign.
Sort of.
You're like a little boy coming to the playground and showing us your new wallet or new gun, or what else would a boy get? A new train? No, it's been a while.
Knife.
Pocket knife. There you go.
It's good. Hey,
Life is good here, Mike. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. We're going to be doing our show a little later tomorrow because Mike and I are going to be live together. So you won't see us at 9 a.m. tomorrow, but you'll probably see us around noon. So be looking for us tomorrow. We'll send out the link, of course. But yeah, looking forward to today's show, Mike. This is obviously one of our favorites. We get to talk about business, entrepreneurship, success, you name it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And one of the, we have a couple of questions. And one I wanted to get to real quick because one of our viewers emailed it in. It's kind of a lengthy question, but let me give a little backstory, and then we'll get to it. So he works in a well-paying job, but it's kind of a dead-end job that sort of wears him down. You know the sort of situation I'm talking about. But he really wants to pursue his passion. And after last week, we had talked. He was actually on the show, Tommy, and he talked about the bike shop idea. And he says he feels selfish about doing it because it's so much fun, rather than there's almost like a commitment thing to the work ethic, and it almost doesn't feel right to have that much fun and do the passion. So his question is, he gets the concept of doing what you love, finding your passion, but what causes people like him? So he gets emotional about the change and yes, I want to do that. I have a desire to do it, but then he just sort of falls back into the rut of the dead-end job, and it really isn't enough to get him out of it. So how do you get your passion and get out of that rut rather than falling back into it? Your thoughts on that?
That's actually a good question, Tommy. Appreciate you sending that in. You know, Mike, here's the bottom line. You ready for this? In these moments of our life, all of us go through this. This is normal, actually. It's very normal. This happens in relationships. This happens in business. This happens in our families, our marriages, even as parents, okay? So the only way through this is a quote that I live by, and it's, don't feel your way into action, act your way into feeling. That one quote could change every single one of your lives if you really take heed to what's being said. Don't feel your way into action, act your way into feeling. That sometimes in these situations, you've got to do what Tony Robbins says and take massive, massive, massive action. I mean, you got to just blow through it, push through it, and, increase your actions literally in every area of that business or whatever has caused you to go into the rut. So, in other words, you recognize it, you're honest about falling back into a rut. Maybe some of it's fear-based, maybe afraid to take that leap. Maybe some of it's just the fact that you're still listening to the negative voices, the self-limiting beliefs, and maybe even the negative people around us. So that's why you've got to, Mike, I honestly believe that the only way to change is through the subconscious mind. A lot of us only deal in the conscious, but that's why I listen to a lot of stuff when I sleep, believe it or not. A lot of affirmations. I read a lot of extremely positive stuff before I go to bed. I listen to stuff while I'm sleeping because it gets into my subconscious. I can honestly tell you, as weird as you may think this sounds, my friends, the things that I have changed in my life have come through the subconscious, have come through just literally immersing my mind in what I want it to produce. Because remember, our thoughts produce results. Literally, what you think is what you become. So the battle of the mind is stronger than what people even realize. And even those, here, Tommy asked a follow-up question. He said, definitely a fear to act. Where does the fear to take action come from? You know, the fear to take action comes from many different things. Number one, you know, afraid we're going to let somebody down, afraid we're going to embarrass ourselves, afraid that we're going to fail, fear that maybe, you know, it's not going to work the way we thought it would. I mean, there's all kinds of things, especially in business. I mean, fear is the number one thing that's holding people back from being an entrepreneur in the first place, or from starting their own business in the first place. But, you know, at the end of the day, the only way through it is to go through it, literally. I mean, you got to just write down a list of, like, extreme actions and then do them. Do them regardless of your emotions, and believe it or not, you'll push through the fear. You'll literally push through the self-limiting beliefs, the negative emotions. Mike, what's your take? You got anything different on this?
I was my initial thought on this question, and it's interesting that you mentioned Tony Robbins, because that was the immediate thing I remember, and it was 20 years ago. I was listening to Tony Robbins tapes, and yes, 20 years ago. And there's something from that something from that series that has stuck with me for 20 years that I come back to at least once a month, which just tells you how powerful that statement was. But he made a statement that said, until your level of discomfort with where you are right now, until that gets high enough, you won't change. So the only way to change is to become uncomfortable where you're at right now. And so I would say to Tommy, you know, he says the emotion of freedom, you know, he gets emotional about it. It's like, yes, I want to do this, but then the emotion wears off, and then he's like, back to the dead-end job, fall into the rut, back to the same grind. It's the same old, same old. And I would say that you need to find a way to make yourself uncomfortable in that situation, because pain is a powerful motivator. And so a good way to do that is to have a little conversation with yourself and talk to yourself about what 5 years from now is going to be like when you're in that same dead-end job. You know, how much progression are you going to have in your life? How much more fulfillment are you going to have in your life? And talk to yourself about that. How am I going to feel 5 years from now if I keep doing this? How about 10 years from now if I'm still in this job? And you need to build within yourself that level of discomfort with where you're at right now. And that will motivate you, even on a subconscious level, like Matt said, on a subconscious level, to make those changes. And so that increase the pain level in yourself is basically what I'm saying.
Look, what Mike is saying is 100% right. And Tommy, all I can tell you is from experience, my friend. If I was extremely transparent, I've faced every fear that every one of you have faced. I've gone through where I've literally broke out into cold sweats. I've had anxiety where I couldn't sleep, tossing and turning at night. Is this the right decision? Sweating over a decision. Making extreme risk. In fact, all I can tell you is the quote, high risk, high reward is true. Like, sometimes the greater reward doesn't happen until you take the greater risk. And a lot of times that's the reason why most people are stuck, and why most people settle, why most people don't break through and really get the life they want, because they're still holding on to that comfort zone, and they're still holding on to all these self-limiting beliefs and the voices of so many people. Listen, I cannot express the necessity for you to be careful who you listen to. Like, the voices that you listen to matter in your life. The people that you surround yourself with. I've been blessed that most of my inner circle are as radical as I am. And when I tell them something extreme I'm thinking about doing, they're like, hey, sounds good to me. And I'm like, yeah, but listen to these risks that are involved. Hey, if anybody can do it, Matt Maddox can. Like, hearing those kind of things from your inner circle makes a difference in someone that's always making you feel stupid or belittling your dreams or looking at you like, you know, like literally you got to have a Walt Disney mentality. You got to be a dreamer. You got to have a Steve Jobs mentality. You got to be a risk taker. You've got to have a Donald Trump mentality. You can't care what people think about you. You've got to have an insane killer work ethic. And all I can tell you is this. You know, let me throw something out there for you. I've went out on my own, like left the comfort of a guaranteed paycheck. And when I mean guaranteed, I mean like you knew every Friday you were getting a paycheck, right? I walked away from an easy, comfortable, like $2,500 a week package. You know, sometimes $3,500 a week. I walked away from that, my friends, about 5 years ago and went to zero, like to this very day. I don't even know what a guaranteed paycheck looks like. I can honestly tell you that I've lived in the trenches of an entrepreneur for the last 5 years, literally like going through every week, not even knowing that I was going to get a paycheck. But I can tell you it's been the last 5 years have been the best 5 years of my life. I'm living life on my terms. I'm having the time of my life. I'm living my passion, and I'm doing okay. You know, I'm doing okay. Like, in other words, there's been highs and lows. There's been ups and downs. There's been times when, you know, I literally had no money at all. There's been times when I've had to sell stuff to pay bills. You know, there's been times, I mean, I can walk you down a road of just, like, extreme risk doesn't bother me. If someone comes to me and says, hey, I'm thinking about, you know, selling everything and throwing it into this business, I'm like, you know what? Do it, and do it now. Like, don't even give it one more second thought. Do it. You know, because I'm a do-it type person. Like, when you have a dream, go after it. That's why, like, with Mike and I, most of Mike and I's business ideas, we don't think about a lot. In other words, we're more of let's do it. If our heart beats for it and we feel like there's a need, let's do it, and we figure it all out as we go along. And that's actually very contrary to what maybe you would learn in business school. But at the end of the day, that's the heart of an entrepreneur, my friends. It really is. And that's part of the show, business and entrepreneurship. And they are two different things.
It's true. It's true. You can be a great businessman, not an entrepreneur, and actually vice versa. Hey, I was looking to see if we'd recommended it before. I thought we had, but I couldn't find it anywhere in the archives. The book, $100 Startup. Tommy, I highly recommend you read that book. It's a quick read. It's got a lot of great information in it, and gives some good motivation and some success stories. So I'll link that up in the show notes here, and make a note of that. That will help you. And just do it, you know.
Tommy, do it, man. Go freak. Go crazy, man. You know what I'm saying? Don't look back. Hear me? Burn the ships, man. Do it and don't look back, because you've got the goods. If you've got passion, I'm telling you right now, I know this. You might go through extreme valleys and lows and setbacks or whatever, but if you have passion and you have the ability to be persistent, like the hang in there somehow would just keep going and keep walking and keep executing. Like, I can honestly tell you this, Mike and I are on the brink of a massive breakthrough right now in our whole, like, everything that we're doing, like literally in the last week. But you know, it's taken like 4 years of thousands of hours. I can't even add up. And trying so many different things. Working on something for 18 hours and then scratching it. You know? Like, no, that's not going to work. Like, literally. Like, ask Mike. He knows. You know? But now, like, all I can tell you is this. It all comes down to process, people, and product. My boy Marcus Lemonis is 100% right. I wholeheartedly agree. You can sum every business up to their process, their people, and their product. And that's why I know in the end Mike and I will win, because we have those three things in place. We have the process. It's a grind. It's a marathon. It's not an overnight success. It's like Dave Ramsey said, I became an overnight success. I worked my off for 30 years, and all of a sudden, boom, here I am, And that's what happens. Everything I've studied, like most of the people that break through, nobody knew who they were. They were just sweating it out, working it out. Think of Jim Carrey living in his car and literally going on the top of the Hollywood Hill. Jim Carrey would keep a $10 million check in his wallet, and on the memo it would say, for acting services rendered. And the guy lived in his car. You hear me? He lived in his car. But the reason Jim Carrey is where he is today, because he had a laser focus, he had a vision, he had a belief, and he went after his dream, even if it meant him living in his car. There's literally hundreds of thousands of these stories, my friends. There's hundreds of thousands of stories of people that risked it all, literally almost had heart attacks because the risk was so high. You know what I mean? Put their houses on the line, maxed out their credit, borrowed money, almost stole money, you know what I'm saying? And have succeeded. But because if you believe in yourself, listen, you got to believe in yourself, because you're not going to have a big fan club at first. People usually don't believe in you until after you've cashed in and they can see the success. When it's underground and nobody can see it except your vision, and when you try to explain it, their mind can't even wrap their brain, can't even comprehend it. Like Mike and I know where we're going. We literally know it right here. We know it here. And that's why when it looks like it's all falling to pieces and it looks like, oh my God, feels like we're treading water. You know what the feeling is like sometimes when you're an entrepreneur? Like your boat has crashed and you have no life jacket and you're treading water in the middle of the sea for days. You're literally treading water hoping that somebody finds you, But I can tell you, just keep treading that water, my friends. What's that?
Then you hear the rotors off in the distance, thump, thump, thump. Hey, you know what? So here's my advice to anybody that's today, you're in the grind and you're sweating it out and you're doing what it takes to build a business, be an entrepreneur. If you don't already, you have got to develop a love for the game. Okay? Yeah. I mean, you got to love the game, because and if you don't, you will, because here's what happens. And what I've found is that you want to talk about growing personally and increasing, who you are as a person. The challenges that we've faced over the last 4 years will literally, have stretched our creativity. I mean, when you're looking at, $2,000 worth of bills and you have $500 and you have no way to, no immediate obvious way to make up the difference, and you have to run a marketing campaign that's going to cost another $250, and you're like, okay, how can we get creative with this? You're going to stretch your creativity. That's no joke. You're going to find ways to make it happen. You're going to, it's like make it happen, and you grow as a person. You gain confidence in yourself as a person because you've struggled through those situations. You've stretched your creativity, and you've found ways to make it happen. And that's where you begin to develop a love for the game. You're like, man, I love this stuff because it's a challenge after challenge after challenge. And yes, sometimes it doesn't work out 100% the way we expect it to, but it works out often enough that there's, reward to it. And so, love the game. That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. Something else I'll say based on that, my friends, is like, get to the place in your business, or your entrepreneurship, or whatever it is that you're doing, that you got to have a whatever it takes and willing to do whatever is necessary mentality and spirit. And you cannot lose sight. And that's why it's always awesome to go into partnership. Mike and I literally have saved each other, mentally, financially, in every way. Like there's been times when he's held me up, and there's been times I've held him up. So if you can find and this is why if you're married, man, my prayer is that you're married to the one who gets your dream and your vision and gets and understands. Because, women like security, and that's not wrong. That's how they're created. But thank God for the business and entrepreneurship wives out there that stick it out and grind it out with their husbands while they're going after their dream or their vision, and willing to, like, not know where the paycheck's coming from or not know how the bills are going to get paid. Listen, you're throwing everything you have into this business, but I'm telling you right now, just keep looking at your wife and saying, honey, one of these days you're going to be able to buy any dress you want without even looking at the price tag. Just hang in there with me. One of these days I'm going to take you on the most exotic vacations. One of these days, girl, you ain't even going to have to worry about money. You know what I'm saying?
And if you're a lady entrepreneur and you're married, it's important to have a husband whose ego isn't going to get in the way of you being successful. And so that's the important thing there. And if you have your wife or your even your girlfriend or fiance or any of those things, if you have a woman in your life that is going after a business, you need to be supportive and not be threatened by it. It's okay. It's okay for women to be successful in business. Let them be successful.
That's actually
Tommy says his wife's in business. So
got to find Al a successful wife. Al, no worries, man. I have a feeling with your ability to ask questions, you're going to find a good one, my friend. Go for the law of numbers. Just go after and ask 100 girls out. Don't stop until you've asked 100 girls out. Okay? And you're at least going to get one of them to say yes, I assure you. It's massive action, my friend. Hey, Al, you want a wife? Take massive action, buddy. Don't play it normal anymore. If you do what you've always done, you're always going to get what you've always gotten. You got to go to another level, my friend. It's time for you to go extreme. Carol's calling out a Russian pride. Hey, I love this question right here. As a team leader, what are the top 3 to 5 ways to communicate vision? This is very important. Unfortunately, I've met a lot of bad leaders. I've met a lot of horrible managers. If I could speak to every leader and every manager, I would love to come in and literally, if I had like a remote where I could like click a button and completely wipe out their ego, I would, because ego is destroying leaders' ability to lead. Now, how do you communicate vision? Number 1, with passion and enthusiasm. Like, if you want to communicate vision, people, you got to go to their hearts, my friend. They've got to feel you beating for something. Like, you can't stand before, your team and be all like dry or monotone or passionless about vision. Like, they got to see the sparkle in your eyes. They got to feel something coming from your soul. Like, when you communicate vision, don't go up here, go here. Communicate to their hearts, not their minds. Number 2 is you got to communicate with stories and pictures. That's how people grab stuff, is by stories and pictures. And you've got to literally paint them a picture of the vision. Don't communicate a vision by just stating facts. Communicate a vision by telling a story or showing them a word picture. And then the third thing, communicate it with clarity. Like, be clear about your vision. One of the reasons why people don't get the vision of the leaders, because their vision is not clear. Like, your people should know where you're going and what the goal is and where you want to be. And I think it's very important that they get, like, with Mike and I communicating with our team and our volunteers about Mission 25, the fourth thing I would say is consistently communicate it. Like, put it out there all the time. Whether you have like a vision statement, pictures, whether you continuously call meetings, a vision casting meeting just to share the vision, is very important. And last but not least, number 5, I would say to you, my friend Matt, is to communicate the vision with every possible means necessary. Phone, video, text, email, like, saturate their mind with the vision. Let them feel it, let them see it, let them hear it. Let them feel it, let them see it, and let them hear it. You got to give it to them all the time, and you got to give it to them every which way possible. But the number 1 thing is you got to give it to it with passion. They've got to feel it. And I've been in meetings with leaders that you couldn't feel nothing. There was no emotion. There was no passion. There was no enthusiasm. Sometimes you got to be so passionate about what you're doing. Am I still at live, Mike? So passionate about what you're doing that you almost flip the table over while you're telling it. Not out of anger, but out of excitement. You're like slapping the table, like, listen, I'm telling you, this is what we're going to do. This is what it's going to be like. Anyways. Yes.
Yes, that is a glimpse into our staff meetings. Okay,
Got it.
So, hey, that's absolutely true. And every business is, at the end of the day, it's always about people. And people are emotional, and you can't be completely analytical. What's the most boring business in the world? I don't know. Let's say you're like crunching numbers for web analytics or something, right? It still is about the people, and if you don't communicate the vision with an emotional angle, business is about emotion, right? There's a lot of emotion that goes into it. That's okay. We're emotional people. We're emotional beings, and don't try to divorce your business from your emotion, because it doesn't work that way. So it's totally okay to do that. I love those great ideas there. Carol says, loves it when we get excited about an idea. Usually it's about 2 a.m.
Yeah, it is. And usually by then we can't sleep, and we're like,
time to execute.
Like sometimes I pace the floor. I just like start pacing real fast, like, and you can just feel it, like the and sometimes, that's what you need. That's what's missing. You know what's missing? We have become a passionless society. We really have. We've lost all passion. We've lost that love and feeling.
Sing it.
You know what? Here's the bottom line.
That'll go on our Christmas album, Carol.
Definitely.
Oh, you're going to play it? Okay.
I tried finding it, but anyways, I'll play it next show. But we gotta get the passion back. We gotta get the passion back for life. Listen, everything that you do, in fact, let's go Bible here, my friend. Since it's our show, we can quote the Bible. We believe in the Bible here at Fuel for Success, okay? The Bible says, whatever your hand finds to do it with all your might. Like, everything about God is passion. That's why he said, if you're going to love me, you love me with all your heart, your soul, right? Like, you got to put your heart and soul into stuff. If you're not 100% in on your relationships or your business, you're done. If you're 99% in, you're done. And most people, Mike, are barely even 99% in. Like, when I say 100%, like, this is what I teach people. Like, a pastor was telling me that when he was communicating one of our outreaches to the church, he's like, yeah, I'll just kind of let the church, we're going to try this. I'm like, nope. You cannot stand before that church and say, we're going to try this. You've got to go 100%, and you've got to stand on the pulpit, climb the pews, throw tambourines, do whatever you got to do to say, we're in, baby, we're going. This is the direction we're going. And the same thing goes in all of your relationships, your business idea. You got to get all in, 100%. Like, you can't go half. You can't try it. Like, you got to be willing to die for it. You got to be willing to sell everything. Listen, don't come in my office. I feel like I could be on Shark Tank. I feel like I could be one of the dudes. Don't walk into the Shark Tank and ask me to invest my money if you're not willing to sell everything you have for what you believe in, and you're not willing to die for it. Like, that's what people are looking for. Are you willing to die for it? Will you sell everything you have for it? That's just my take.
That's good. Now, I was thinking when I recommended Tommy earlier, the book $100 Startup, which is a great book, and it tells a lot of ways to sort of segue into a business. So, but what I would say is that it's not necessarily you quit your job and go, right? That may not be your plan. Your plan may be 6 months, but whatever your plan is, commit to it with 100% enthusiasm. Say, this is what I'm going to do, right? Maybe I'm going to move out of my full-time job into this business. So you can take massive action without being necessarily reckless. Although
Yeah, and
Sometimes reckless is good.
that massive action sometimes might mean taking 2 or 3 jobs. That might mean the opposite. Now, for example, the founder of Cane's Chicken, like everybody knows Raising Cane's, right? Right? Everybody knows Raising Cane's, right? Do you know that they could not get financing from the bank, so they had to go to Alaska for like 2 or 3 years and catch fish and sell it just to get enough money to start their first restaurant? Talk to me then. Like, don't come to me and say, well, I didn't succeed. I tried, and they've only been at it like a month. No. When you're like 3 to 5 years in and you've literally tried everything, then we're talking like you're getting close to being ready for a breakthrough. All I can tell you is that old motto of never give up is right. It really is. You believe in it. And listen, now there are times you have to give up. I'm going to go opposite, and that's next week. There's actually times you have to give up. It's like Kenny Rogers. You got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to fold them, baby. You got to know when to walk away. You got to know when to run. Your intuition is going to tell you everything. Like sometimes you got to look and say, you know what? Like Steve Jobs, when he walked back into Apple had like 300 products going. He cut out like 290 of them. Sometimes you got to cut out more, and you've got to cut out the fluff, and you got to go all in on one thing or 2 things. That's a whole nother subject.
It would be so awesome if we had someone who could sing that we could just like cut too quick on the show. Like David Letterman has Paul. I don't remember his last name suddenly off the top of my head. We just like cut to somebody and they just sing, "You got to know when to hold right," and then just cut back. But they have to be quick.
Mr. Mike, do you see that in the future? I'm asking you.
Well, I have massive vision for this show. It's going to be totally amazing. And
I see
I'm going to personally put a record.
I see the U-Haul right now. I see a yellow U-Haul driving down the road. I see me being all excited, out in the front yard dancing and doing somersaults. I see myself carrying stuff, all of Carol's cords in the house. You know what I'm saying? I see it. And I see us having our own studio.
I'll go on record actually at this point and personally thank Spreecast for giving us the bait and switch. I don't know if y'all noticed it, but they're running pre-roll advertisements that we're not getting paid for, but they are. And they've monetized the whole platform, and so all of our archives are going away in a couple of days, so I have to take massive action to try and keep our website up. But I'm going to personally thank them because we're going to abandon Spreecast as a platform. We're going to something way better. It's going to be amazing, even if I have to build it myself. End of story.
Mike could. And Mike could, so watch out. That's all I got to say. Watch out. Be careful. Don't mess. We're like the nerds, man. We're like, what we're like? We're like the Netflix nerds sitting down with Blockbuster. That's what we're like. Don't mess with us. You have no idea what's around the corner, my friends.
Yep.
Or like when Google went to Yahoo, remember? Remember when Google went and pitched their idea to Yahoo? You remember that? And Yahoo was like, yeah, when you come see us later when you've worked out your little, Yeah, be careful.
Hey.
Be careful, my friends. Be careful of the nerds.
Tommy, I want to let you know, he's asking if he has to go watch all the archives. All of the archives, unless we pay the extortion money to Spreecast, they're all going away on the 19th. We do have all the episodes on YouTube. I'm going to probably just backlink those back into the website so that you can get to them. And we have a few days to get that done. So there's our situation.
In other words, we're not losing our content, Tommy. We have it protected, my friend. So we'll see what happens. We'll keep y'all posted. Just know this: Fuel for Success is marching on. Somebody asked me who heard it. I don't know. It's a purple shirt. I liked it. What can I say?
I think it's a skateboard company, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, we're 5 minutes over, and it's okay because it's our show. If we want to go 5 minutes over, we can. But, Mike, pick me up from the airport tomorrow, okay? I'd like for you to be on time, and then take me to eat. And then we'll do our show tomorrow somewhere in Minneapolis. Does that sound fun? Yeah?
Did you just call me out to be on time?
Not
That just
you,
happened.
but the lady in the other room. Yes. No, you guys are always on time. Actually, they are. Mike and Carol, listen. Of 500 possible times to be on time, they've been on time 492.
It's pretty good.
That ain't bad.
But I can do better.
Me, on the other hand, I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I'm never on time. No, I'm on time. I'm pretty good, aren't I, Mike? I'm not bad. I'm better than what most people would think, aren't I?
Hey, this has been a great show.
Oh, you hater, man. You know what? I don't see the vision.
Oh, you're not bad.
I don't see the vision of the all. In fact, when you come, I'm not helping unload. Fine. You know how the friends are? You know how the friends are when you're moving and then right when you get everything all moved in, they're like text you and say, hey man, if I'd have known, I would have come and helped you move. You have those kind of friends?
Yeah, I have the ones that show up and like, dude, I heard you were having pizza. And they like move one table and then eat pizza. And then there's also the friends that you don't really want to tell that you're moving.
Yes, because they throw stuff. They're like, hurry up and just throw stuff in there. That's like
no, don't. It's okay. You just manage the truck. We'll move this. Okay.
Carol's moving soon. You guys are moving on Labor Day, my friend.
Yes, we are.
Well, at least
We're saying goodbye to Studio 11.
I'm kind of in the mood to move on the beach. Speaking of entrepreneurship, trying to think of a creative way to make this happen. Give me 10 ideas.
You want to live on the beach? You want to live on the beach?
Like, I want to walk out my front door and down the sidewalk, and there's the sand and there's the beach. Not my front door, the back door. I want to open up sliding glass doors on my second story bedroom that's got a balcony, right? Like a nice porch. And I want to have, I want to walk out on the porch and see the water and hear the waves.
Yeah. That's cool. You should do it.
Vision. One day. Hey, love you guys. Thank you so much. Don't forget, you're welcome to go to fuelforsuccess.tv and check out any previous episodes. If you're new today and you've just started joining us, Mike and I do this thing every single morning at 9 a.m. It's called Fuel for Success. Every day there's a different topic, and you're always welcome to watch later on the archive. If this show helps you in any way, pass it along and give it away. Give it to your friends and family. This show is free. It's for anybody, and we have people all across the world, literally in other countries, that watch this show, Mike. I probably got at least 10 to 15 Filipino friends of mine that watch every single day that I get emails from. So to all of my Filipino friends, God bless you. I love you guys.
Awesome. Hey, y'all make the most of your Thursday today, and we will see you tomorrow.